Hello, trading has closed on the 11th of October 2022. Let's start with our disclaimer, go over our calls and make some predictions. It's my trading plan for tomorrow, October 12th, 2022. Please trade at your own risk because my calls can be completely wrong. Look for the pattern with the early low, which is this. Tomorrow should be the pattern with the early high. We hit a target 35.8809. I said it might not print, but it did. We didn't make a directional call because we thought it was cutting it close. It was either a case of support holding and we go up big, or support failing and we drop big. Here's what we said. Commonest thing was a gap and prompt move outside the day's range. We got that, and my opinion is support did not hold. MEJT says this drop is false, gives us a target of 34.52. Unless we gap down smartly, that has to be the call for tomorrow, but I would consider it a counter trend trade. I certainly wouldn't act on it without a stop because as will show, we broke major support. Here's DeMarc's count. We had bar 13 of a combo buy signal. This bar actually violated his stop. He says that should be interpreted loosely. When we gapped up the next day, I was willing to excuse it as long as we didn't visit it again. Today's close was the second violation of the stop, and that's not something I'm going to sneeze at. Now, we haven't violated the stop on the bar 13 buy signal from the sequential pattern, but when these things work, you get a very strong move within the first 3 days. That gives us a day more to have a huge rally after dropping the first two. So even though it hasn't failed, if it worked now, it would be in conflict with his work on the combo signal. That's the daily chart. Here's the weekly chart. We have one bar under the TDST line, a second one completely under that bar. All you need to break support from the TDST line is to trade under this close by 1 cent, and we did that today. So it means on the weekly chart, his support has broken. I had this count I've graded out because we've gone too far in this supposed wave C for this count to work. If this held, I could count this as an ABC being complete. That's really too much for me to swallow, so we're going to have to come up with some other count. The next one I have is next target, 34.1494. That's where you get wave C. Having a good fib ratio with wave A. Let's focus in on the other shorter term patterns if that's the target, 34.1494. I really think when you have overlapping counts, you can make anything work that you want to. But if this is 78.6%, I had to recount this. If that's A, and that's B, and that's 78.6%. You get 100% right at the same price. I think this count has credibility because in wave gray B, wave A and C are equal to each other. And if we're making gray C, and if we're in C of C, there's a perfect 61.8 to 100 for wave A. So we have balance of the waves right around 3415 cash. Now just because that works, it doesn't mean some other numbers won't. We've had all kinds of numbers that worked and the market just blew through them. But if we hit around 3415 cash, you can at least make a case for a completed pattern here. You could argue this is a rejection of the break under the lows because we closed under this low and we have the higher target, 36, 34, 52. Just because we broke major support, that doesn't mean we have to drop tomorrow. You could argue that, and I can't really quarrel with you. I think it's a reasonable interpretation. As far as I'm concerned, we broke through this low, had a strong rally, overtook the prior high, which is what you have to do if that's going to reverse. Then we gave it all back, and all this rally didn't amount to anything as far as I'm concerned. This is just a break of the low, and we're retesting the low. That could all change at the open tomorrow. We open up here, I'm a fool. You don't know. But to me, this is a break of major support, and regardless of what happens tomorrow, even if we see our target, I think we're going much lower. Wednesday's pattern has the early high. We could still gap down. Typically, it's a rally day with a high in the final hour. Failure is a straight line drop. There's a higher MEJT target. Unless we gap down smartly, the rules call for it to print. There's an economic report tomorrow. Could render today's analysis nugatory. I don't have a good way of predicting what happens with these reports. But that being said, I think today broke significant support. Regardless of what happens tomorrow, I think we'll see much lower prices fairly soon. There's balance of the waves around 34.15 cash. That number works. It doesn't mean other numbers won't. So it's a negative day. I have a higher target. It may print, but it doesn't matter to me because I think we're going much lower. And that's today's call.